When I was in grade school, I had to do a lot of reports. And you had to do a report on Venezuela or Italy or anything like that. Sometimes you had to do timelines. And what I found was that I really cared about the organization of what I had to write. Not so much the writing part, but what I had to write. So I found that early on, not only was I pretty good at making my reports look good and got lots of good comments from the teachers, but also I got a lot of praise for just being artistic in general. I think people started calling me creative. I don't know if I consider myself creative, but I guess I am, because I've been doing this for over 20 years. Maybe it was more of an applied kind of creativity. You're solving some sort of graphic problem, and you happen to do it in a visual medium. So maybe, to me, it's learning how to do that and finding out what you're capable of and what the tools are that make the difference. And it's the creativity, that nonlinear thinking, to me, that makes it sing and be special as art. My first job was in a really teeny design studio, Boyd Hines Design in Sarasota, Florida, and it was me and the creative director. And he saw something in me right out of school that he liked, and he's one of those mentors that I had forgotten about until just now, that really shaped, I think, my career, because he was an ad guy and he thought in terms of concept first, design second, and I think that was very important coming from art school. So I think that was a really good lesson to learn right out of art school. It's not about the design. I didn't go to a portfolio school. I went to an art school that had fine arts as a background, graphic design. So having that advertising mentality right out of the box, I really grooved on that. I think it was very formative for me. Graphic design is, to me, a tool and a subset of marketing. I mean, I think design is what I learned to do. It's kind of basically who I am as a designer at heart. I see graphic design studios starting to wise up to the fact that they can't just rely on design anymore. There has to be some marketing savvy and some marketing sense involved, because otherwise it's just another commodity. And I think clients are looking more and more to us to help them think through marketing problems. And making something look good is very important, but gosh, clients have Word, clients have PowerPoint. They can do that themselves these days. So I think that's changing now. I think design studios are starting to think about that a little more. We found the reason people come to us is our thinking. It's certainly our work and how we approach our work. That's the tangible effort of what we do, but it's really our thinking that I think they ultimately hire us for. I started off my career as a designer, and then I graduated to art director, and then associate creative director, and then creative director, and now creative director and agency owner. And I think in the past, I really was concerned more with the creative product. If the client really liked it or not, not so much. As long as it looked good in my book, we're good. What's been really challenging for me as an agency owner, with someone who interacts with clients on a regular basis, I'm suddenly put into the account director part of the equation. So I'm suddenly an AE and a creative director at the same time. And that makes me really schizophrenic. And I don't know if it's made me a better creative person. I think it's made me a better business person. But that's been really challenging to me, to try to figure out how to be as creative as I can be when I'm wearing both hats. When a client comes in with some project, I don't know what it is, whether it's a whole full-blown branding awareness campaign, if it's rebranding them, if it's an ad campaign, if it's just a logo, the first question I need to know is, what are you trying to do from a business standpoint? Are you trying to make more money? I think we're all trying to do that. Are you trying to increase sales? Are you trying to increase awareness? Are you trying to attract more customers? Are you trying to sell more products or widgets? What are you trying to do? So to me, that's the first thing you have to do, is quantify what they are trying to achieve. And then we can start having the discussion of what does that mean? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that sound like? I see print still being part of the mix. I still see magazines and newspapers, direct mail as being viable places for people to communicate to their customers and their clients. I think it just depends on the audience, and figuring out how your audience consumes media has really been the tricky part. Are they on their smartphones? Are they on the web? Do they read magazines? Do they read newspapers? Less and less, but they still read newspapers. Do they watch TV? Yeah, they do. Do they skip through the commercials? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So it's all figuring out what is appropriate, and I think print is still a viable way to go. Social media is one of these big, fat, unknown things that is constantly evolving and growing and changing. And a lot of our clients are asking us about it, and they've already taken upon themselves to be at least on Facebook and Twitter. And what we're trying to do is, first of all, understand how can social media in general, whether that is Facebook or Twitter, whether it's a blog, a vlog, whether it's being on Urban Spoon, whatever it is, how is that going to benefit them? How is that going to shape the conversation about their brand? Business to business and business to consumer advertising is in some ways the way we approach things similar, in the fact that we are trying to make an emotional connection. I think in business to business there's the tendency to want to talk about features, and a lot of people do that. What we try to talk about is what is the benefit to the business person to engage our client. And that's an emotional thing. It's the same thing you have to do when you're talking to consumers directly to buy something. So when I say people are people, I still think you have to hook them emotionally. So whether they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on hiring a firm or buying a big piece of equipment for their department, or whether they're spending $5 on a frozen custard cone, it's the same kind of emotional hook. And it's the same kind of problem solving that goes into those marketing problems. You still got to figure out what is going to motivate people and what are you trying to achieve.